Welcome to part 2 of converting my Citroen Berlingo into a little micro stealth camper. And unfortunately, the weather is horrible.
Shut up and sit down.
So since the last video, I've started doing the cladding and the carpeting on this side. As you can see, like I said, I have to leave this a little bit proud, but I've carpeted all the exterior parts and obviously the cladding on the wall. I did this side off camera because, to be totally honest with you, I figured doing the door and this little panel would be the trickiest part, and I wanted to kind of get it done and out of the way, and also get a better practice in so that I can take you along for the rest of the journey, doing these two doors, that wall, and the ceiling. So, yeah, I think I'm going to get started on these first. So let's go! So last video, you obviously saw me putting the insulation in and stuffing it in all the little nooks and crannies everywhere. So the first step for doing these doors is I need to put up my vapor barrier, which is just some thin plastic sheet. Then we'll need to attach some studs top to bottom, and then we'll put the cladding on. I think what I'm going to do is both doors at the same time. Then what I can do is put a single piece of cladding all the way across, and then that will be my guide to make sure that these things line up on both sides. So yeah, vapor barrier first. Okie dokie, that's the moisture barrier up. Now it's time to cut the pillars, if you like, for the slats to go on. Studs are up. Now before I move on to putting the cladding on, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be putting the carpet around the sort of frame of the door. The idea is similar to this side. I've put the carpet going on these studs, and then I'm pinning it down with the slat, so I'll get a nice sort of seal here, and any gaps around the edge going up to the rubber trim will be nice and covered, so it should look hopefully fairly tidy. So there's going to be carpet going all the way down the side here, overlapping this slightly, and then yeah, I can screw into this, and I'm just using the, where's it gone? Where is it? There it is. I'm just using this spray-on adhesive in which to attach the carpet to the walls, and that seems to work quite nicely. So, let's do that. I'm soaked. I think I'm going to have to call it a day, because the camera that I'm filming on is also soaked, and it's expensive. So yeah, we'll carry on with this at a later date when hopefully the weather's nicer. Scrap that, the rain died down a bit, so I managed to get both of the doors done today. I am, however, knackered, but they do look good. So I think I'm going to leave it here for now, and then tomorrow is probably when I'll start working on the slats. So, see you tomorrow. There we go, there's one side all finished up, and rinse and repeat. And there's the other side all finished up as well. So, hi. It's now time to move on to this wall. So the first mistake I realised I'd made when I put the insulation up is I didn't allow room for these beams, and there's also now a gap in here which you can't particularly see. But I literally just insulated the entire thing, and then, yeah, I couldn't get to the parts I needed to. So that was dumb. But again, I've remedied that now. I've just torn a few little holes in the insulation, and I've stuffed the pillar instead, so that there is still insulation running the whole way through, but it gives me access to this. Now, when I've been attaching the studs to the wall, I've been using these, which are self-tapping screws. I don't know how well this is going to focus, but you can literally just drill these straight through into the metal frame without the requirement for drilling a hole first. So these are really handy, and yeah, I think these are about 30mm long, so it's got enough space for the wood, and then that part goes into the beam. Obviously, you've got to be careful. You're not going through any thin parts, and you're going through something where there's an additional layer, because, for example, if I drill this straight into the roof, that is going to be poking out the roof. I know this sounds really obvious, but I'm sure someone somewhere has done it, so let's just cover all bases. But yeah, first step, I need to put the moisture barrier up, and then yeah, I'll drill in some slats on here. Moisture barrier done. Now let's put some studs up. Jesus, it is so muggy out today. But hey, at least I got one slat up before all my batteries died. Right, guess I'll be back once these are charged up then. So in a weird way, it's probably a good thing the batteries died when they did, because I'd forgotten to A, carpet this side before I've obviously screwed all of these on so that I can create that nice sort of flush look, but also it gives me an opportunity to tackle the ceiling beams. See, this one was nice and easy because I've got this central beam which I could just drill into with the self-tapping screws, but on this side, where I want it to be going across, there is no beam. This is just a thin piece of sheet steel, and the actual beam is hidden behind the trim. What's more annoying is this roll bar cage thing is also bolted into it, so I can't put my what's the word? So I can't put my stud going through here because this is in the way. So instead, what I think I'm going to do is there are these little overhanging flaps. So I think I'm going to wedge a piece of wood in here and then glue the wood along, and again wedge it in this side. And then what I'll probably do is screw a secondary piece of wood into it just so there's almost no chance of me going through the roof. Because that would suck. So I'm going to do that for this side. And on this side, it's a similar story, except there's a bit more distance between the sort of cladding and the roof. So I think I'll be able to get away with drilling into this side. Just. But yeah, I'm going to have to be careful with this. And now we've also done the carpeting along this side. Little trick I learned on the other side was using electrical cable trunking. This gives a really nice finish, and the slats fit in here really nicely. Helps keep it all sort of pretty and tidy. So yeah, now we're just working our way up here once the batteries are charged. Batteries are now charged, and this is as far as I got going by hand. Let's smash through this last bit. Looking not too shabby so far. I'm not going to go any higher than this for the moment, as A, I've got to fit up the light, and B, I've got to figure out how to connect this this final slat to the ceiling. So next up will be fitting up the ceiling, I think. However, I've run out of the sheeting for the moisture barrier, and I definitely don't have enough wood. It's crazy how quickly you get through this cladding, and I've only got 2 and a bit packs left. So yeah, I'm going to have to go probably get at least one more. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. I've fitted up this little 12 volt adapter back where it was before, and I've just got it wedged in place because it's still sort of slipping out, and I've just used glue. But yeah, we'll just sort of see where it goes from here, because I'm not really sure from this point. But it is actually starting to look somewhat like a camper. Loving it! So here is the solution for this end. I've just screwed in a few blocks along here, and then we've drilled the stud into that. That leaves us enough room for the insulation. Now I've just got to worry about this side. What I'm going to do, I'm going to screw probably 2 more pieces of the identical wood in this side, and yeah, hopefully that'll work okay. I ended up using 4 pieces of wood on this side, but I did get the desired thickness. However, if I take you to the outside of the van, you know earlier when I said about drilling through the roof? Well, yeah, I nearly did. Can you see these raised areas? Here, here, here. The screws nearly punched through. Not quite, thankfully. I just put a little bit of sealant where the paint had chipped, just to stop it rusting. So it doesn't look particularly great, but thankfully I did not put holes in the roof. But yeah, considering I spoke about it seconds ago, I'm an absolute moron. But with all that said, it's now time to start on the ceiling, so it's going to be rinse and repeat. Insulation, moisture barrier, cladding. So let's do it in 1, 2, 3. That is looking pretty freaking sweet. I'm pleased with that. Next and final step for this video is going to be sanding this whole thing down and then painting it. I'm going to go with a watered down white. It would be nice if I can see the wood pattern through the paint, but I'm not too fussed if that's the case. The idea is, because I haven't put any windows in or skylights, because I want to keep it stealthy, the only light I'm getting is from the front, so if I can make this as light as possible, then that will add to the overall effect, hopefully. So, let's do that. Right, that's got everything painted up, and this thing is looking pretty slick. I'm so far actually genuinely really pleased with how this thing's coming along. I chose a chalky white paint, so even though the door looks a bit shiny at the moment, it dries to this kind of matte white, which I really like, and again, it does help bring the light in, which is good. So yeah, I'm going to leave the video here for today. Next video, I'll be working on the interior around the floor. And yeah, if you're enjoying this journey and you're new to this channel, consider liking, commenting and subscribing, and I will see you then. Bye bye!